Good afternoon and greetings, everyone. This is Marcus Sims representing Marcus Sims Media, and I am happy, elated, and just really pleased right now to have a reggae artist that you want to check out, a musician who's putting out a lot of positive vibes, putting out a lot of great energy out right now. We're putting you into the know this afternoon with this gentleman. We want you all to stand up and show some appreciation for my man, the Carey James, in the house right now. His new EP, Self-Fulfillment, there we go, get it out, is out right now. Brother Carey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Give thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure, you know.
Yeah, now first and foremost, where are you zooming in from right now? Where are you currently located?
I'm in the studio, Kingston, Jamaica.
Wow, okay, so talking to us all the way from Kingston. All right. Well, thank you for giving us a few moments of your time, my brother. Now, as we get things started here on this special presentation, the Carey James, singer, songwriter, producer, your hands involved with a lot of things. But before we get into the Self-Fulfillment EP, tell us a little bit about your upbringing. As I always like to say, my guests, your origin story. Tell us a little bit about your come up.
Music was from day one. I am from multiple places. My first years were spent in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. Later on, I was in Montego Bay, Jamaica, and then I moved to Kingston to attend the university. Initially, you know, my family was always in music. My dad used to be a gospel artist. My mom is a singer. Her dad was a music teacher, and on my father's side, most people are musicians. So on both of my family sides, it's music. So somewhat I got drawn into music at an earlier age. And you know, I used to play around with instruments. I used to play drums at church with my father. Um, and you know, as I got older, I started making instrumentals, you know, using the softwares and stuff and building beats. And we developed from there into trying to learn how to vocalize properly and write songs properly and stuff like that. And it's been many years. I decided to do music about 18 years ago, and we're here today.
Wow. Well, we definitely enjoy the vibes and music that we're getting from you, and definitely it's getting huge spins on my reggae show, and we know that a lot of individuals are enjoying the Carey James music. Now, for your EP that you have out now, Self-Fulfillment, who are some of the people that you worked with on this project?
Self-Fulfillment is produced by More Love Music from Italy. So the whole project is produced from them in Italy. We did the recordings here at Richie Stevens' studio, Pot of Gold. So it was Richie Stevens, his engineer. You know, we were in studio with them a lot of the times and doing all the recordings there. The whole project was done during the pandemic, so it wasn't a lot of people involved physically, but more, you know, virtually connecting over the internet, connecting over the phone, stuff like that. The whole EP vocally is only me. So we didn't have any official collaborations on there, but we had the pleasure of working with some great musicians and singers. For example, my friend Natel did the backing vocals for one of the songs, but Natel in his own right is a big, you know, big musician and writer and artist. So we got people like those and some great professionals in the music to be a part of the project, and you know, I'm really grateful for that.
Wow. Now, tell us about the title. That's a strong title right there for your EP, Self-Fulfillment. Tell us about the meaning behind that title.
The title also comes from the song Self-Fulfillment, and that song is really an overall of what my life represents. Um, you know, coming from someone who didn't have much and trying to build and trying to learn and trying to grow from nothing to that point where you can say self-fulfillment, you've achieved something that you've dreamt of, or you've gotten to that point of happiness, or you've gotten to that point of fulfillment, as the word suggests. So, it's really about my life's journey, and we use the EP to put it into music, and that song is really the song that really shows what everything is about.
Right. Right. Now, you touched on it a few minutes ago, but how did COVID-19, how did the pandemic change what you do as an artist? Because we know from where we're at now, from 3 years ago, a lot of things have changed for artists in every genre of music, not just reggae. We know R&B, hip hop, you name it. COVID-19 changed for stuff how we have to operate in these days and times. For you personally, how did the pandemic affect you?
Well, first thing was, at that point when it happened, I had just gotten this song that was doing really good, Uptown Tenement Yard. There was a mixtape that I had produced practically myself, like a 12-song project. And that was released like 2 weeks before the pandemic hit Jamaica. So everything kind of got paused at that point. It was a lot of input that we had done, and one of the main factors of reggae is live music, live performances, and we didn't get to really do any of that to promote it or do anything like that. So it was kind of caught right when we were about to do something big. And the biggest issue for people in my genre is the fact that a lot of our music is based around live events. In reggae music, if you can't go play live, it's kind of really difficult to really get across your music the same way. And that's one of the biggest issues that I've faced, because I love the stage. So that was a big thing to adapt to. But outside of that, maybe it's affected the music a little bit financially too, a lot more rules in terms of traveling and stuff like that. But outside of that, I wouldn't say it was a big issue for me, because we started doing that EP, and practically the whole 2 years that things were locked down for, I was working on that project. So I was busy.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, we're definitely enjoying I guess maybe if anything during the pandemic lockdown time, I know a lot of artists said they were able to devote more time to their art form, their writing, the production, and a lot of times just mental health also. You were able to deal with things that deal with yourself, right? So I mean, if there is a quote unquote positive to it, maybe it was a little more time for you to devote to your craft and all that, right?
Right, exactly. And
Now let's
I have I have my studio here too, which I built during that time because I needed a place to work. So yeah, that's positive for me too.
definitely. Now let's jump into some. Now, since I got a hold of the EP, I gotta say there were just a lot of songs that jumped out to me, and I definitely want to encourage everyone that's watching this right now to get the EP Self Fulfillment. Download it, check it out. As you're going about your day, play this great music from the Carey James. Talk to us about. We're going to talk about a few of the tracks on there, if you don't mind.
No problem.
Let's talk about one of the ones that I really like that stood out to me, the track Heaven. Let's talk about that for a moment.
All right. So Heaven is, roots reggae music, a love song, dedicated to that special one for me. And the song was just, from the heart, talking about the fact that life isn't always easy and stuff, but once you have that loved one, you can help each other to pull through and connect and be there for each other. And that song was really a testament of my personal relationship, and a reflection of that.
True, and I really enjoyed that one. And also another one that jumped out to me, Carey, was Life of a Gangster. I really like that one also. You were kind of mixing it up a little bit. Let's talk about that track.
All right, so Life of a Gangster is a song that many people that know me might not have expected. It's the one from left field, but that is what it represents is the not just me now, but the average person in Jamaica, the average guy that is trying to get to self-fulfillment. The fact that sometimes you don't always get to do things in the way that you would always want it to be, but somehow you have to find a way to grind and hustle and make it happen. And at the same time, we live in a society where if you're somewhat weak or timid, you don't really get by. So you got to be strong, you got to be powerful, you got to be dominant, you got to be able to stand up for yourself. And Life of a Gangster is that song that says, hey, this is no weak heart Rasta, you know?
Yeah, I got to say, and that's a really song that really jumped out at me. I can definitely say I've been at home playing that a lot. And one last one we're gonna check out because there's some great tracks on this EP, but I'm just naming three that stood out to me. Talk about the song "Kilston City."
All right, Kilston City is also somewhat connected to Life of a Gangster because it represents also underground in Kingston, where I'm from, where I live, where a place where you can play with. You gotta be strong, you gotta be aware. It's not pretty, as them say, it's not pretty, but at the same time, our culture has developed in a way where the city in its own way is so amazing, the music, the culture, and the song speaks about social issues where crime and violence does exist, but it also talks about the nice part, where we can go to the sound system and to the dance and all a vibe and eat some food and drink and party, and so it speaks about what life is generally like in this city.
Now, with the tracks on the EP, Self Fulfillment, do you have a personal favorite or one that you're really looking forward to performing live, or one that you're getting the most buzz about? Do you have a personal favorite on that EP?
Well, not the most buzz because it hasn't been released yet as a single or anything, but my personal favorite is Rich and Lonely. That song stands out to me personally because I've always had many dreams as a kid growing up, and sometimes you have to remember that in chasing your dreams, you can't get lost. The people around you are still very important, and it doesn't. No matter how much richness you get, how much wealth you attain, it's not fun if you're the only one experiencing it or enjoying it. So, that's the song that keeps me grounded.
True that, true. And if you're just joining us right now, this is Marcus Sims representing Marcus Sims Media, and I'm happy to have joining with me super reggae artist, the Carey James. His new EP is out now, Self Fulfillment, and we definitely want you to check it out. Carey, could you give us the names of three artists that you would love to work with that are out now that if you could just pull them in the studio with you right now and record some tracks, give us the name of three artists that you'd love to work with.
Damian Marley, Sean Paul, and maybe like a Chronics along that line. So, okay. Damian Marley is one. Damian Marley and Sean Paul are two of my favorites all time, and Chronics is really good in terms of this modern day music and what he stands for musically and the melody and stuff. I really like him.
Now, and that's funny you say Sean Paul and Damian Marley because I'm just loving their song out that they got out now called Schedule. I know you've been checking that out, huh?
Yeah. It's this I think is their second official collab, but it's always good. It's always good.
Yes, they work great together. Now, who musically would you say influenced the Carey James sound? Are there any artists that you would say influenced you, played a big role in where you're at now in your career?
All right. So I take influence from many places. In terms of writing music, the one that stands out to me is Bob Marley in terms of structuring of lyrics and stuff like that, and concept of writing. Musically, I always watch a lot of live performances from like Damian Marley and Stephen Marley. I love their music a lot. Um, but also, I've grown up listening to a lot of dancehall music, Bunty Killer, Vibes Cartel, Mavado, in my time frame. And I also listen to a lot of international music, some pop music, some EDM, some rap. So it's being a music creator. Somewhat, you don't always pinpoint influences. You get a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, and it develops into your personal, signature, and you grow from there.
Right. Now, let me ask you, I always love to ask when I have artists on the show, could you give us a name drop a few artists that you would want us to check out? Maybe artists that you're listening to when you're driving about or you got on your playlist. For someone out there, name drop some artists that you'd like us to check out.
All right. So there are two that I have to speak about. The first one is Natel. Natel is a name that has been around the music for a very long time in Jamaica. Has written a lot of the big hits that come out of Jamaica, and is also a very good artist himself. He was like a mentor for me because he's been here so long and he's been through a lot. And he's also a touring artist because he's on the road now in Kenya with Tarrus Riley. So Natel is one to look out for. And then King Cali. King Cali is more of a hardcore dancehall artist, but he's from the old mold, but he's doing it now. So he has that big, powerful voice and really lyrical, educated guy. And he's here with me almost every day. We're working hard together. We're building music, and he's gonna be huge, I think. So those two names I think you could look out for: Natel, King Cali.
Wow. Now, Carey, as we're wrapping things up here on this interview, what message for those that are listening to your self-fulfillment EP, what message do you want them to get not only from the EP, but from the great music that you put out?
My music represents, as I said before, my journey. And my journey was one from feeling like you weren't good enough, that you were not able to do something, and going through all the hardest times and not giving up, pushing through, learning your craft, and being honest with yourself. And I would recommend that anyone listening to my music get the concept of my music, which is one of motivation. You can't give up, but at the same time, your biggest critic and your biggest motivation and your biggest driver should always be you. You can't sit around and wait for anybody else to push you. It has to be you and prevail. I think that's track 2 on the EP, is that song that speaks directly about it. We don't believe in failure. We're gonna prevail today. Yeah.
True. Now, Carey, how can someone contact you? We know we definitely want everyone that's checking this out right now to get the EP, to download it, but also tell us about your website, your social media, how they can reach out to you, how they can get the music, all that good stuff.
All right, so my website is officially up, thecareyjames.com. That's TheCareyJames.com. And on all social media platforms, you can reach out to me at the Carey James. And you can always send us a direct email also at management@thecareyjames.com. So, to make your life easier, just going to the website would make it work. And that's thecareyjames.com.
That's right. Go to thecareyjames.com. And for all of our friends out there on Facebook, Carey James is also on Facebook. So just Google the Carey James, whatever whatever search engine you want to use, and you can find out more information about the music. You can go to YouTube and check out the great tracks, Facebook, social media, all that good stuff. So Carey, we'll let you have the last word. Anything else you want to say out to our viewers and listeners out there?
Stay positive, stay motivated, keep going, and hopefully I see you in your city soon.
Well, we
Give
want to
thanks
thank
for having me.
Yes, we want to thank you, D. Carey James, for joining us here on this special presentation, Marcus Sims Media. Once again, go to thecareyjames.com for more information, for music and all of the above. Also check him out on Facebook and his social media sites. Once again, my brother, thank you for joining us here on this special interview.
All right, man. Give thanks for having me. Give thanks.
Thanks.